駆け抜け青春スパーキング。
Brutal. Is Papa... I don't know why I'm blanking on her last name. Is Gonzo going to give his daughter the advice she needs to confide, to be able to accept Yu's confession? Just like how Satoru's dad gave him the courage to talk... Just like how Satoru's dad talked to him and gave him the courage by calling him an idiot to confess to Hazuki. Listen, it's not my fault that they line up well, that the two scenarios line up pretty well. I lost track of how many times I had sighed today.
またつれーとか言ってる。どうしたのよ、そんなしけた顔して。
Hibiki. Is that the sort of face it looks like I'm making to you?
見えるも何も、しけすぎてカビが生えてるじゃない。今すぐに外に放り出して、日干ししたいくらいね。
She was saying some pretty awful things to me. This really was brutal.
まったく、今日は部活って感じじゃないわね。ナギは愚か、鹿島さんもしおりもひじりさんもいないし。唯一部室に来てるユウがこんななんだもん。せっかくいい天気なのに、空気が悪くて重すぎだわ。
Just as Hibiki said, we were the only members of the youth collective that showed up to club today. I was sure Kashima, Hiragi, and Hijiri just so happened to have other errands come up at the same time. As for Senpai though, I could imagine why she was absent. My confession was likely to blame.
ま、たまにはユウと二人きりってのもいいけどね。それで、あんた、何があったわけ？
I mean, nothing really.
嘘ね。あんたがそんな顔してんのに、何もないわけないでしょうが。幼馴染なめんな。
Oh.
どうせ、ナギとなんかあったんでしょ？
Her pinpoint accuracy was nothing short of startling. I wanted to believe I had been acting as calmly as possible. You sure?
んで、どうなのよ。
Acting as calmly as possible while sighing every second sentence. Every second. Yeah, every second. Nothing happened with Senpai.
神に誓って？
Oh, yeah, of course.
そうなんだ。
Even I thought it was lame. I hoped it would be enough to convince Hibiki to give up, though.
ユウが素直に白状しないなら仕方ない。じゃあ、ナギにでも直接聞くか。
Hey, wait, Hibiki, stay. Please, I'm begging you. I get it, I was wrong. I'll tell you, just don't do anything rash.
なんか、言い方が気に食わないけど。まあいいわ。変に隠そうとしないで、最初からそうしてればよかったのよ。
Oh, come on.
ね、ナギと何があったのよ。
Yeah, actually, with my mind made up, I told Hibiki how I confessed to Senpai.
なるほどね。そっか。告白したんだ。
Yeah, it was on impulse though.
それで、ナギはなんて返事したの？
Did I really have to tell her this part? Or so I thought, but it would be pointless to clam up now and not tell her the full story. She ran away.
Huh?
Please don't make me repeat myself. It's depressing enough as it is. She ran off before I got an answer out of her.
ユウ、あんた変な告白したんじゃないでしょうね。
Rude. I told Senpai I loved her in a perfectly normal way. That's all there is to it. As far as I was concerned, there shouldn't have been anything unusual about what I said or did. She said something about how there were other girls who were way cuter than her, which was when I told her how attractive she was. And I said I couldn't consider anyone but her. She ran off shortly after that.
なるほどね。
Did I do something wrong?
聞いた限りでは、ユウは間違ってないと思う。というか、ある意味でナギらしいって思ったくらいかな。
You think so?
ナギってば恥ずかしがり屋だから。
I don't know how sad I'm supposed to sound.
特に恋愛とかそういう男女の色恋沙汰に関してはね。
Yeah, I could see that. I had made use of that side of Senpai up to this point. That included the time she pinned me to the wall shortly after Hibiki transferred in, hadn't it? I took advantage of how poorly she dealt with the topic of romance to try and run away from her. That had ultimately failed, though.
しっかりしてそうに見えて、あの子は誰よりも乙女なの。それこそ恋愛のことになると恥ずかしくて直面できないくらいに。だから、いざ告白されたらその癖が出て、戸惑って逃げてしまったんだと思うわ。
When I told Senpai how I felt, she got embarrassed and ran away. What should I do then? I couldn't afford to leave things as they were forever. I had to think of something.
まったく、あの子も仕方ないんだから。ユウ？
What?
ま、仕方ない。私が一肌脱いであげる。
Uh-huh? Of course.
さっきも言ったけど、ナギはいつもの悪い癖が出ただけ。あんたの告白を言葉で拒絶したわけじゃない。でしょ？
Yeah. She didn't answer me verbally at all.
確かめたくないの？
She was right. It wasn't like I'd been turned down outright. Then, I didn't want to give up yet. I wouldn't give up until I met with her face to face and got an answer directly. I do. But not to you. I'm only going to say that to Nagiko when the time is right. I want to confess to Senpai one more time and hear her answer.
そうこなくっちゃ。私がちゃんとナギをあんたの前に引きずり出してあげるわ。私もナギには言いたいことがあるし。
ん？
ああ、こっちのことよ。ユウ？私ができるのはナギを連れ出すとこまでよ。あとのことは全部あんたの仕事だから、しっかりやんなさい。
Got it. Don't worry. He won't fuck up, alright? He's got this in the bag. The question is, though, it's all on Nagiko. But the question is, will she run away again? Because I doubt Hibiki would be able to catch her. I've braced myself for this. Even if she did reject me, I wanted to know her answer. This was no time to be discouraged.
多少はマシな表情になったじゃない。ちょっとは元気出た？
Yeah, thank you. Childhood friends were really there when you needed them most.
我に秘策あり！見てなさいよ！
With that bold laugh, this was the one time Hibiki seemed dependable to me. This is an exception
また休んじゃった。
to Hibiki's regular behavior.
部活へ行こうと思ってたんだけど。
I couldn't bring myself to leave the house, which was why I decided to lie to myself by working up a sweat in the dojo alone.
だって仕方ないじゃない。
Oh, if we get to confess to Nagiko while she's all sweaty and shit, that's even better.
遠野がいきなり愛の告白を。
Calm down. Calm down, me. What's the point of getting embarrassed about it the second I think about what happened?
精神集中、対戦知着、落ち着け。合気道は平静じゃなきゃダメ。
Yeah, well, maybe if you didn't run away, none of this would be a problem. I performed breathing exercises to gradually calm myself down. My cheeks were still on fire, though. Whenever I tried to empty my mind, Tona's face would flicker across it.
遠野、私のこと好きなんだ。
He told me he loved me. What's more, he wanted to go out with me.
でも、私じゃやっぱり。響から電話？ 何かしら。って部活のことしかないか。
Hibiki would undoubtedly reach out after I skipped out on class without notice. Yeah, she's reaching out because you skipped out on class and not because you ran away from Yu's confession, but she doesn't know that. She had called to tell me to make sure I come to club earlier too.
さすがに出ないわけにはいかないか。無視したら多分家まで来るんだろうし。もしもし？
もしもし、何？今日はどうしたの？部活に来なかったわよね。
ああ、うん。ね。
I was at a loss for words. I looked around as I searched for an excuse, which was when I realized what I was currently wearing.
ちょっと合気道の稽古をね。
That wasn't a lie. It's not like I could focus on anything else, and I was practicing to some degree.
ま、それは別にいいの。
What Hibiki said came as a relief. Was that why I let my guard down?
で、あれからユウトはどうなってんの？
トーノと？
I feel like you're playing your cards a bit too early here, Hibiki. At least have some suspense in regards to the fact that you've talked to you about the thing that happened between the both of them.
そう、ユウト。っていうか、何そんなに慌ててるのよ。ユウのこと好きって言ってなかったっけ？私とひじりさんにユウにアピールしていくって宣誓してなかったっけ？
先生まではしてないんじゃないかな。
ああ。なーに、ナギ。もしかして、またおじけづいたの？
そんなんじゃ。
だったらどうしたの？ちゃんとわかるように言って。
わかったわよ。ねえ、響。実は私、遠野に告白されたの。
A brief silence.
よかったじゃない。ナギずっと頑張ってたものね。じゃあこれからは恋人同士ってことね。二人がくっつくなら応援してた私も一安心だわ。
What Hibiki said pierced straight through my heart.
待って、違うの、響。
Yeah, because you're a bitch and you ran away at the most important moment.
違う？って何が？
まだ告白の返事できてなくて。
SMH.
私でいいのかなって。私なんか遠野にふさわしくないんじゃないかなって。
ばっかじゃないの？ユウはあんたが好きだから告白したんでしょ？それなのに自分がふさわしくないかもなんてユウの気持ちを疑ってんの？告白する大変さなんて十分にわかるはずでしょ？生半可な覚悟じゃ告白なんてできるわけないって。
響。
Every single word she spoke made my heart sting. I wanted to argue, but the words wouldn't come out.
あんたにユウと付き合う気がないならさっさと断りなさい。その時は私がユウをもらうから。
それはダメ。
The voice that had been trapped in my throat burst its way through to the surface. I could see Tono clearly in my mind. However, there was a different faceless girl standing at his side. That faceless girl has red hair for some reason. They were happy, wearing big happy smiles.
それは絶対にダメ。遠野は絶対に譲れない。私は遠野と一緒にいたい。
Yeah, and where was this resolve when you ran away? Aw, you had to. You needed a Hibiki to. What's the word? Goad you into saying it? I don't know. Something told me Hibiki had chuckled on the other end of the phone.
ちゃんと言えるじゃない。自分の気持ち。それでいいのよ。悩むことなんてないわ。
響、ごめん。それから、ありがとう。
I wouldn't run away anymore. I wouldn't hesitate either. More than anything, my next objective was to tell Tono how I felt about him.
そんじゃ、覚悟を決めたナギへ。私からの最後のプレゼントよ。これからメッセージを送るから、それを見て。
え？それってどういう？
The call ended without warning. Hibiki was so high-handed that I found myself smiling wryly.
と、これが響の言ってたメッセージ。
The text included plans for tomorrow. To be honest, I couldn't envision everything she'd written, but
これなら、遠野に気持ちを伝えて、今までのことも謝れるかも。駆け抜け青春スパーキング
What's on the itinerary today? Why did things turn out this way? Oh, okay. Yeah, all of the girls are here. Everyone from the youth collective, Shinji excluded, had gathered together in my living room.
ででーんこれより、青春部主催の学外活動第1回、どっちの料理がいいでしょう in 遠野家を開催します
Oh, okay, this is a cooking thing. I thought Hibiki was holding a try to make Nagiko jealous event, derived from try to make Riri jealous event.
イエーイっす
Hijiri interjected following Hibiki's declaration. It wasn't even a club activity. We were just getting together to have a good time. You all sure do get along well.
先輩に言われましたから。
せっかくのイベント、楽しまないと損っしね。
I guess it's fine as long as you enjoy yourself. My gaze fell to Senpai, who hadn't acknowledged me once since she arrived. She obviously felt awkward.
審査員は、リツと鹿島さんがお願いね。私は参加しちゃダメなんですか？私も料理してみたいです。
You two can't. It won't be much of a competition if either of you participate. Yeah, Ritsu's got home field advantage, and Riri's got rich girl advantage. I mean, that doesn't make sense considering she doesn't have a butler, but you know, she has housewife advantage. That's a better way to put it. We had established in the prior hearing that Kashima had substantial cooking aptitude.
もう、お兄ちゃんたら勝手なんだから。そうですよ。私の料理をご馳走したかったのに。
I'm sure you do, but unfortunately, this ain't your route, alright? We'll need judges either way, and you two would be perfect for that role. So now we got 3 judges.
お兄ちゃんがそう言うなら仕方ないな。
The 3 judges are you, Ritsu, and Riri.
そうですね。確かに、誰かが審査員をやらないといけませんからね。
They seem to have accepted it one way or another. Why a cooking showdown though?
昨日テレビを見ててビビッときたのよ。
She was watching Iron Chef.
もうこれしかないって。
Just a whim of yours, huh? Then again, I wasn't really in a position to complain when Hibiki managed to convince Senpai to come here. And now she's going to be cooking for you too. Now all I needed to do was to find a chance to talk to Senpai and hopefully confess to each other in private so that I don't get another Hibiki scene where I don't get another end of Hibiki's route scene. I guess that's the better way to put it.
ところで、皆さんはご自分でよくお料理されるんですか？人並みにはしている方かと思います。
自分はそれなりって感じっすかね。ただ、今日は新しいチャレンジをしてみるつもりっす。自分の料理を見た時のみんなの顔が楽しみっす。
せめて食べられるものをよろしくね。
That was a pertinent question for her as a judge. Besides that, Senpai...
ついにこの時が来たわね。
She looked ridiculously tense. Was now the right time to talk to her about what happened? Surely she wouldn't run off without warning again, right? Senpai, are you alright?
大丈夫だから。
Okay. I'm glad to hear it then. This was different from a rejection. It didn't seem like she could actually have a conversation with me now.
またこんな態度取っちゃってる。
はぁ、何やってんのよ、ナギ。
仕方ないじゃない、響。私、少し緊張してるみたいで。
Where's that resolve, Nagiko? You had so much of it over the phone call with Hibiki. Now that you're in front of you, we need it more. We need it back so you don't bugger run away again.
気持ちはわからないでもないけど、もっと肩の力を抜いて、気楽にやればいいのよ。
無理かも。合気道の商談の審査より緊張してる。
全然少しじゃないわよね、それ。
I was anxious and yawning. Hibiki was keeping a close eye on her, so I'd imagine she'd be okay.
まあ、それはともかく。今日のルールを確認しましょう。
確か、スーパーのお惣菜そのままは禁止っすよね。
レトルトを出すのもダメだと聞いてます。その通り！手を抜かずに少しは工夫しろってことね。ユウも何も大丈夫？
No problem.
私も大丈夫。
先輩、制限時間はどうするっすか？
私は1時間くらい欲しいです。
私もそれくらいあれば間に合うかな。
他に意見がなければ、そうね。余裕を持って1時間半にしましょう。
わかったわ。
Was Senpai planning on preparing something elaborate as well? I was a bit curious what she was going to make.
リツ、鹿島さん。はーい、何かな？何でしょうか？二人ともひいきはせず、ちゃんとした審査をお願いね。もちろんです。任せて。よし、他に何もないわね。それじゃあ、第1回どっちの料理がいいでしょう？イン、遠野家、開始！
I shut the lid on the rice cooker and pressed the button. All I can do now is wait. I decided to make Japanese mixed rice. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you would also be a judge, but no, I guess he's also cooking. I mean, I got an inkling that that's what he was doing from the dialogue before. I just didn't say anything. A very simple dish. Iritsu and Kashima ought to be head over heels for the secret weapon derived from canned goods. The savoriness of the canned mackerel and mushrooms should soak into the rice and make it into something exquisite. Like Hibiki said, no bias, alright? You can't win off of Ritsu and Riri choosing you because they like you or anything. Not only was it wasn't inexpensive, but it was easy to prepare. Alright then. I just have to wait for this to cook. So, I guess I'll go see how the others are doing. At the very least, I was curious to see how Senpai was doing.
遠野先輩、どうかしましたか？
With that thought in mind, Hiragi addressed me as I surveyed the room. I had some time free, so I thought I'd come see how the rest of you were doing. Things are going well on your end? I'd be happy to help if you need it.
問題ありません。もう少しで完成しますから。
Listen, all I'm gonna say is, you're probably gonna make the worst dish. Unless there's, unless there's something wrong with Hibiki or Kika. But Shiori and Nagiko, we already know that how good their cooking is. Have we? For Shiori, that is. I don't remember. It's been a while. Really? She looked like she was spacing out without doing anything in particular to me. Wait, no. We got her cooking during the pool date. So yes, we've verified that she's good at cooking. I don't know why I'm blanking on Hibiki as well, because they also had a pool date. So the situation, the scenario should be similar, right? So they would have both made boxed lunches, which would have both been good. But I don't know why yeah.
あとはもう待つだけなので。
Huh? That was fast. What did you make? I found it hard to believe she whipped something up faster than my mixed rice.
ほら、そこにあります。
She already pointed over at the rice cooker. Uh-huh. 2 of them. Don't tell me you made Japanese mixed rice too.
いえ、卵かけご飯の予定なので、普通の白いご飯です。
Oh. Well, egg top rice is tasty. Wait, crap. I quickly checked for movement around me.
よーし、次はこれをミキサーにかけるっすよ。
Right, so everyone made rice dishes. I feel bad for Riri and Ritsu.
あら？ひじりさんはミキサー使うの？
Oh. And Nagiko is going to be the exception, right?
そういう小日向先輩は電動スライサーっすか？
ええ、ニンニクをスライスするのに使おうと思って。小さいから手でやるのが大変なのよね。
わかるっす。みじん切りにするなら楽なんすけどね。
Hijiri was getting the mixer ready, and Hibiki was about to use the food processor.
鹿島先輩、1時間半はちょっと長いですし、テレビゲームでもしませんか？
Okay, so they aren't exactly all using rice cookers. So, that's good, at least, I guess.
どんなゲームがあるんですか、りっちゃん。
Ritsu and Kashima were about to play games to kill time. Hey, hold on a second. I quickly called out to them, but it was already too late.
なにお兄ちゃん。どうしたのよ、ユウ。
Paired with that doubtful voice.
ミキサーが途中で止まったっす。
Okay, so that was the point of this. I mean, like, obviously, there's another point to this scene, right, which is to do with Nagiko, but this specific part of it, where everyone is using appliances at the same time, and of course, especially because they're using it, especially because of the 3 rice cookers, because for some reason, heating elements are very bad at I don't know how to put it, but regardless, heating elements, especially faulty ones, are especially prone to causing a power outage. Right? I mean, it's more complicated than that, but it's still the fact that they're using 3 rice cookers, you know, probably contributed the most to the power outage.
途中でスライサーが、ニンニクのかけらが目に。待って、セーブデータが消えちゃう。
Okay, well that one doesn't make any sense. Hang on a minute. Why would your save data be gone?
困りました。これではご飯が炊けません。
The power went out, and cries of pandemonium resonated through the house. However, only one person remained unperturbed by the mayhem.
カイドウ先輩、ボールを混ぜていますね。すごい真剣ですけど、何を作ってるんでしょう。
There's no way I'd know that. Probably something good. She was mindlessly stirring the contents of her bowl, seemingly oblivious to the commotion going on around her. She's probably trying to pay attention. She's probably trying to put all her attention into stirring the bowl, so that she doesn't, like, you know, think about you. What could she be making that required such intense concentration? Anyway, let's do something about our rice cookers. We went overboard by running so many appliances all at once.
そのようですね。ここが一般家庭の電力なのを忘れてました。
We get it, Shiori. You're rich. You're used to running multiple electrical. God damn it! I can't think of the word. Right? Not. She doesn't run appliances. Right? She runs fucking cameras, computers, lights. Right? A lot of stuff. So we get it, Shiori. You can run multiple appliances at your house. I sort of glance over at a very serious-looking Kaido. Talking to her seemed out of the question, given her behavior. Senpai, how did she feel about me? That consumed my thoughts while I checked on the contents of my rice cooker.
それでは発表します。
Ritsu and Kashima concluded their evaluation and made that announcement in front of the group.
私たちが食べた中で一番美味しい料理を作ったのは
I wonder who it's going to be.
じゃじゃーん、小日向響。
Really? I was sure it'd be Nagiko, but, well, I guess they are related, so maybe the good cooking gene was transferred to Hibiki as well through cousin osmosis.
響ちゃんに決定しました。
皆さん拍手パチパチパチパチ
Yeah, but like, declaring the winner is whatever. Alright, I want to know who made the worst dish. Alright?
当然よね。
負けたっす。
あのペペロンチーノとても美味しそうでした
Okay, yeah. Yeah, good. Not everyone made rice dishes.
ありがとう。二人の、卵かけご飯と、闇鍋そっちも美味しそうだったわよ。
今度小日向先輩にもご馳走するっすよ。
先輩がそう言うなら私もご馳走します
ええ、その時はお願いね。
Ritsu, how was mine? Don't be honest with me.
ご飯に少し芯が残ってたし、いまいちだったかも。
Well, I wonder whose fault that is.
味は良かったんだけど。
Just because I had to cook it in a pot I had to cook it in a pot after the power went out. There was no way I could properly prepare a meal when using an unfamiliar cooking method.
カイドウ先輩のも美味しかったんですけどお料理って感じではなかったので減点でわかってる
Ah, that's not what I meant to press. I meant to press F5. We deducted points since it didn't seem fully in the spirit of cooking either. So what you're telling me is that she would have won if it wasn't for an arbitrary reason as not seemingly fully in the spirit of cooking. You know what? Sure. It's because she was thinking about you the whole time.
それが分かった上であれを作ったんだし
She was trying to not think about you the whole time. Come to think of it, what had Senpai made? I'd had my hands full with cooking with that pot and forgot to check. It did have an oddly sweet smell to it. Oh, okay.
さて、時間も時間だし、今日はこれで解散しましょうか。
What dessert did she make?
また明日、部室で会いましょう。
はーい
ほんと、忘れるところだったわ。ユウは何を送っていってあげなさい。
Really? What was the point of this then? If that was your plan the whole fucking time? Hibiki, you're just wasting time, aren't you? Huh?
男の子なんだから、ちゃんとナギを守るのよ。
Me protect Senpai. I flitted a glance in her direction. Our eyes met, but she immediately turned away from me. Was this the chance that Hibiki had prepared for me? I didn't want this rare opportunity to slip me by. This was my chance to have a real conversation with Senpai and get an answer to my confession. Senpai, you heard her. Is that okay with you?
殿、私からもお願い。
Her expression grew serious. Her voice trembled with embarrassment as she slowly opened her mouth.
私も殿に渡したいものがあるの。
I was so nervous, all I could do was gulp anxiously under her gaze. Is it the thing you cooked? Well, I guess not cooked, since it's not in the spirit of cooking. We walked a short while after we left the house. Neither of us had said a word to each other. Hey, Senpai. It couldn't stay this way forever. That's when I spoke up, if only to not miss my chance.
何、殿。
We need to talk. Is that okay?
わかったわ。
She let out a brief, bewildered gasp. Even so, she nodded and met my gaze head on. Thank you, Senpai. This isn't really the best place to have a conversation. Why don't we go somewhere else? Even if this hypothetically didn't work out, it would be better than some half-hearted attempt. Better suck myself up and find a better spot for the CG background. I was going to get my answer from Senpai.
神社？
Nobody will bother us here. And listen, I've had better odds confessing to girls in the at the shrine or near the shrine than not. What? Either way, Shiori and Hibiki, I confessed to both of them during the festival at the shrine. So, I'm liking my odds here. I stopped in place once we were on the shrine grounds and turned back to face Senpai. Did I read nobody will bother us here? Hopefully. I mean, I just did, so... Was it because of the sunset? Her face looked positively radiant to me. I took a deep breath in an effort to calm my racing heart. Alright, this was it. I needed to ask her how she felt. Senpai...
殿、あの時はごめん。
wait, huh? I had found my determination and began to speak. However, Senpai beat me to the punch and bowed her head momentously.
この前の、殿が好きって言ってくれた時、恥ずかしくなって逃げてごめん。
No, don't worry about it. I mean, I was surprised when you up and ran off like that, and it gave me a lot to think about, but, I understand what it feels like to want to run away too. It had taken a lot of courage to tell her how I felt. And the same could be said when giving an answer as well. So, I mean, look, all I'm saying is, confessing takes a lot more...
待って、殿。今は何も言わないで。
I didn't mean to press F6. Confessing takes a lot more courage than accepting the confession. Accepting the confession is a lot easier than rejecting it, you know? Especially for someone like Nagiko.
返事は私からちゃんとさせてほしい。私って女の子としても人間としても至らない点も多いと思うの。でもいつまでも自分の気持ちに嘘はつけないから。
With that said, Senpai took several deep breaths. She stood right in front of me and gazed directly into my eyes. Senpai. Holy crap. I was pounding like crazy.
殿。今だけは、ユウって呼ばせて。
You. My heart thundered violently in my chest when she addressed me by my first name.
その、私も、ユウのことが好き多分、私の方が先にユウを好きになってたと思う。響や聖に協力してもらって、あんたとの一緒の時間を増やしてもらったりして。なのに、あの肝心なところで逃げちゃって、ごめん。こんな私を好きって言ってくれて、本当に嬉しかった。ユウと付き合えるなら幸せだなって、そう思ったの。でも、私って、いろいろ至らないところがあると思うの。他の子みたいに照れずにちゃんと話せないし、恥ずかしくてすぐに逃げたくなっちゃうし、ユウはこんな私でも、本当にいい？
Obviously. I love you just the way you are, senpai. How you are now is ridiculously cute. Her face flushed a deep shade of vermilion. Shut the fuck up. Just say red. And she gazed at me with tears in her eyes. As usual, dauntless ambience had proceeded and was replaced with a cuteness that made me want to hug her tightly. I love your usual self-assured side too. That eager big sister vibe you get sometimes is really cute as well. You shine brightly when you're surfing. What's more, I really like how delicate you can be in moments like this. Senpai's face only grew hotter. But there was no way around it. These were, after all, my true feelings.
バカ。じゃあユウ、私と、付き合ってくれる？
Of course. Or rather, I would like to ask you for the same. I bowed my head emphatically. My head was burning up so absurdly hot, and my heart was racing so hard that I couldn't look straight at Senpai. I could sense her slowly draw closer to me.
ユウ、顔を開けて。
Are they gonna kiss? Senpai. Ah, never mind. I suddenly felt something being inserted into my mouth. It wasn't her lips. It was a cookie? Then a sweet aroma wafted through my nose and began spreading across the surface of my tongue.
これ、仲直りのお詫びにって思って作ったクッキーだから。
Yeah, that's what I thought. Once again, apparently, according to Riri and Ritsu, baking is not good enough for a cooking competition. And sure, I guess they're different. But you're still making something. Here's the difference between the two, right? The ingredients used when cooking something can be seen, right? Like with fucking shiori and shit. You saw the rice and the egg and whatever else she put in the rice cooker. Same thing with you. And the same thing with the spaghetti. With Nagiko, I mean with cookies and other baking stuff, those ingredients are combined into one. And you don't see them. You only see the thing that those ingredients made. Whereas in cooking, I don't know what I'm cooking up here, but in cooking, and it doesn't really sound that, I'm not really making it sound that good. But with cooking, even though you're still combining the ingredients, sure, I guess it's different. but like, fine. You know what? Nagiko would have won if she wasn't hell-bent on making apology cookies.
鹿島は美味しいって言ってたし、多分、味は大丈夫だと思う。
But are these what you made while we were cooking earlier? Kashima had deducted points because it wasn't in the spirit of cooking.
そう。
Listen, all I'm saying is, why are cookies called cookies when you bake them?
響きの入れ知恵だけど、ユウに何かあげられたらと思って。
See, they may not be... these cookies may not have been made in... whatever. They may not be the spirit of cooking, but they're the spirit of cookie. Alright?
美味しかった？
Super delicious. I'd wondered where that sweet smell had been coming from back at the house. All of the things I was curious about were beginning to fall into place like puzzle pieces.
そっか。よかった。
Right. The whole point of the cooking competition was to let Nagiko bake cookies. For you. Does that matter when you didn't try them for yourself?
なんか、自分で食べるって気分じゃなかったから。ユウのこと考えてて、胸がいっぱい立ったし。
I see. A small part of me wanted to be a little mischievous, now that she had said that. We were dating now, so just a little ought to be fine, right? Senpai, do you have any more cookies?
まだあるけど。
In that case, I'd love if you fed me some more. I opened my mouth and Senpai gasped bashfully in front of me. Even so, she brought a cookie to my mouth once more. The second it went into my mouth, Senpai. Okay, there you go. I pulled Senpai into an embrace and stole her lips. Senpai stirred with surprise in my arms. She let out a bewildered sigh. However, she quickly figured out what was going on and let out a soft moan. There was little to no resistance to speak of. I used that as an opportunity to press my lips against hers harder, and deepen our connection. I had Senpai taste the cookie she'd given me via mouth to mouth. The already sweet scent of the cookie only seemed sweeter for it. The excessive sweetness sent a numbness straight through the center of my head. Listen, he's just following the pattern that while the rest of the pattern is broken at the moment, right? Like how the route while the route still ends at the end, the route still ends after summer break. You confessing during a festival, that's already passed, right? But the kissing during the confession, right after they start dating, them kissing in the same scene, that's still there, right? That's been 4 for 4. Sorry, Senpai, I acted on impulse. I thought if I did this, you could get a taste of the cookies too.
確かに味わえるけど、もう、
Senpai shyly turned away from me. Even so, she didn't pull away from our embrace. Anyway, Senpai, I hope you'll be happy with me from now on.
こちらこそ、よろしく。
We had officially become a couple, and our first kiss tasted like the sweet aroma of cookies, because almost like it's almost like you had cookies in your mouth.
Kakenuke 青春スパーキング
The next day in the youth collective club room. Now, if I were to rate all 4 confessions, here's the problem, right? Even though I liked all of them, Hibiki's was definitely the worst one, but Shiori's was the only one I praised outright, right? Like I had a whole thing and talked about how much I loved the confession. Because of that one, it's pretty obvious that one would be, you know, first. And Riri's and Nagiko's, while they were also both great, they were kind of missing that feeling that I had. They were missing that feeling that I had in Shiori's confession, right? But it wasn't nearly as lacking as Hibiki's. So it's kind of a battle for second between Riri and Nagiko's. And I kind of have to give it to Riri. Right? I loved Nagiko's confession, but because she ran away and because the process of getting Nagiko to finally accept Yu's feelings was kind of like iffy, right? It's because it felt nonsensical, even though you as the player, you know, meta you know that the scene is going to lead into the confession, right? But still, at the same time, the mood didn't get there to me, right? Because it's the same thing in Shiori and Riri's confessions, right? We all know when Riri asked to play that card game with you, it would lead to the confession. And the same thing with how you wanted Shiori to go with him to the beach, to the restricted area. Right? Both of them led to the confession. And it's kind of the same thing here with the cooking event. And I guess the main difference between Nagiko's confession and Shiori and Riri's is that neither Nagiko or you planned the cooking competition, right? That was all Hibiki and the whole club room, the whole club, right? But it was Hibiki who planned it. And while you did confess to her before the cooking competition scene, because that didn't lead to them confessing, I kind of have to deduct points from it. You know, it wasn't in the spirit of confessions. Like how cookies weren't in the spirit of cooking. The next day in the youth collective club room. Surprisingly, everyone was present. So everyone, could we have your attention?
どうしたんだユウ
The problem with unfortunately with Shinji, he wasn't invited to the cooking competition.
何かあったんすか？
I
遠
know
野先輩、
she
カイドウ先輩と並んでたって、どうしたんですか？
he probably had something going on with his dad's shop, I guess. Everyone's eyes were focused on us. His senpai stood beside me and was visibly tense. How do you want to do this? Should I tell them?
私から言う。ちゃんと、義理は通しておきたいから。
If you're sure. Alright, I'll leave the rest to you. I didn't think it was necessary for us to go so far as to call everyone together, but for now, I'd better make sure this went in a way that satisfied senpai.
なんか、仲良さそうじゃない。これは、いい報告をしてもらえるのかしらね。
いい報告ですか？
なんだろう。お兄ちゃんは、当然何か知ってるんだよね。
While Hibiki planned the cooking competition with the club room, it appears that Hibiki was the only one who knew the real reason why they needed to do a cooking competition. Of course. If only because it concerned me directly.
みんな、ちょっと聞いて。実は報告したいことがあるの。いろいろあって、一言では言いづらいんだけど。遠野とお付き合いすることになりました。
え、今更っすか？
やっとか。遅すぎ。はぁ、びっくりした。もっととんでもないこと言われるのかと思っちゃったよ。
Hold on a second. What's with those reactions? The funny thing is, I'm playing this after finishing Orio's route, and their reaction to Nagiko saying that she's finally dating you is the same as Kaguya's reaction when Orie finally told her that she was dating Riku. Right? In both instances, they weren't surprised by the fact that they're dating. They were more surprised by the fact that it wasn't something else. Right? Like in Kaguya's case, she thought Orie was saying that she was going to be pregnant, and in this case, they're surprised that it took this long.
みんな、知ってたの？
詳しくは知りませんが、なんとなく、最近のお二人の雰囲気で、小日向先輩からいろいろ頼まれましたので。
Well, they certainly had a point. And a part of me wondered why I thought none of them had noticed.
ヒュー、お前だけは俺の味方だと。
Yeah, you know, Shinji's the only one that didn't notice. But that's because he's in denial. It's not because he didn't see the signs. It's because he didn't want to. It did appear one of them had noticed though.
まったく、やきもきさせて。先輩方、おめでとうございます。おめでとうございます。遠野くん、カイドウ先輩。ついにこの日が来たんだね。お兄ちゃん、おめでとう。幸せに暮らしてね。
Wait, I'm not gonna leave home or anything. It wasn't like I was getting married.
なあ、ユウ。
What is it, Shinji?
彼女ができても、お前は俺と親友でいてくれるよな。お前は俺を捨てたりしないよな。
You're being gross. Besides, we're barely buddies anyway, so... Sure, I guess. I understood where he was coming from, but did it really need to latch onto me and cry? Everyone was giving us their blessing. That alone made me happy.
おめでとう、なぎ、ゆ。
Oh, well, thank you, Hibiki. I don't know all the details, but you helped Senpai out a bunch behind the scenes, right? Not to mention, gave me a push on the back. Not to mention, gave me a push on... I didn't know the details, but you helped Senpai out a bunch. Not to mention, gave me a push on the back. It works, right? You don't need to add the you before the gave, right? But yeah, without her help, I doubted Senpai and I would be dating right now.
ねえ、響。私からもありがとうって言わせて。私さ、響に喝を入れられて本当に目が覚めた思いなの。遠野のことを諦めたくない。他の誰かに取られて遠くから見てるだけになりたくないって。本当にありがとう、響。
いいわよ、お礼なんて。二人が幸せだって言うなら、それだけで十分。
What are you showing off for?
うっさいわね。別にいいでしょ。幼馴染といとこの幸せを祈るくらい。
Hibiki pouted when I teased her. I couldn't help but poke fun at her, but I was genuinely grateful for her support.
ま、二人ともこれから頑張ってちょうだい。二人にはこの夏にしかないような、とびっきりの青春が待ってるんだから。
そうっすよ。思いっきり青春をするといいっす。
ひじり、あなたも相談に乗ってくれたわよね。ありがとう。本当に助かった。
結局自分は何もしてあげられなかったっすけどね。
I mean, to be honest, the route only got interesting after Kika and Hibiki talked to Nagiko.
でも、少しでも力になれたなら、部長冥利に尽きるっすよ。
最初はどうなることかと思ったけど、今はあんたが部長でよかったと思うわ。私たち、恋愛に関しては初心者だし、これからもご指導ご鞭達のほどお願いします、部長。
結婚報告っすか？
Hijiri wasted no time issuing that snarky remark when Senpai bowed her head. Even so, there was an abundance of smiles in the clubroom. Why can't I say exclude? If you exclude Shinji.
ところで、少し質問してもいいでしょうか。
What is it? Hiragi raised her hand slightly and joined the conversation. Everyone turned their attention to Hiragi.
いえ、大したことではないのですけど、お二人は
Oops.
なぜ付き合ってるのにそのような呼び方なのでしょうか。いえ、大したことではないのですけど。
After she pointed that out, we looked at each other.
言われてみれば、ユはずっと先輩呼びのままだな。
逆に、カイドウ先輩はずっと名字呼びをしてるっすね。
確かにそうかも。お付き合いしているのに、それだと不自然かもしれません。
それは、まだ付き合い始めたばかりだし、ちょっと早いかなって。
Oh? You called me by my first name when you confessed to me, though.
うわー、ちょっと、遠野！
She seemed to realize what she had said yesterday. Her face flushed a dark shade of red as she pointed an adorable glare at me, almost as if to suggest I had betrayed her.
なんだ？二人きりの時は名前で呼んでるってこと？
No, that was the only time. We had, incidentally, called each other by our surnames ever since we had seen each other again today. But you still call her Senpai. That's not her surname. That had been pretty nice, though. It was the sort of memory I wanted to etch into my heart forever.
お兄ちゃん、なんかいやらしい顔してる。
You've got the wrong idea.
まあまあ、遠野先輩のエロ妄想は横に置いといて。
Wait, there's nothing to set aside. You're just making assumptions. I wasn't thinking about anything weird, okay? It should have come to no surprise that I wanted to firmly deny that.
そのことはもういいっす。で、カイドウ先輩、もう一度名前で呼んだりはしないんすか？
あの時は特別だったから。その、普段からだと恥ずかしいじゃない。
恋人同士なのに何を恥じらってるのよ。
でも、わかります。名前で呼ぶと、急に距離が縮まる気がしますから。
じゃあ、カイドウ先輩が恥ずかしいなら、お兄ちゃんが呼んでみるのはどう？
Me? Nagiko. I try to repeat it in my head. As wonderful as I think it would be, she told me not to drop the honorifics. She told me not to drop the honorifics once before. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it without her permission.
ああ、確かに。以前部室でそんな話をしてたっすね。
ユウはそう言ってるけど、ナギ的にはどうなの？
さすがに、人前ではちょっと、多分、私、恥ずかしさのあまりもだえ死んじゃうから。
そこまでなの？
Well, I assume it shouldn't be a problem when we're alone together.
それなら。
With a tiny nod, Senpai shyly and gently gazed at me. Nah, I really needed to get into the habit of calling her Nagiko in my head. For just a brief moment, we gazed at each other.
うわー、早速のろけてるっすよ、このカップル。
もう、お兄ちゃんのアホー。
Yeah, in front of all of these other girls.
そんなに見せつけるなんて青春テロだよ。甘々なのはスイーツだけにして。
なんだか、私まで当てられてしまいそうです。
Oh. Those snarky comments from all sides made both of our faces go red. You didn't hear that.
さて、ユウとナギに砂糖をぶちまけられたけど、それはそれとして。
それはそれって。
なーにナギ、まだ人前でユウとイチャつきたいの？
なんでもないわ。話を続けて。
The tinge of red hadn't receded from Nagiko's face yet. It didn't appear she could endure much more and instantly clammed up.
それじゃあみんな、これをちょっと見てくれない？青春部の活動議題としてあげようと思って持ってきたのよ。
She whipped out a flyer.
海祭りですか。
ああ、そっか。もうそんな時期だっけ？
お盆前にやるイベントなので、確かにそろそろですね。
The beach festival. This particular festival was held every August and garnered some real excitement from the people who ran the beach huts. It was a smaller scale from the summer festival held by the shrine, but it was a summer staple here in Kazumi City.
私、大切なことに気づいたの。
大切なこと？
なんでしょうか？考えてみれば、私たちって全然夏っぽいことしてなくない？せっかくの夏休みなのに、部室でゲームばっかりじゃない。
みんなで一度だけサーフィンしに行ってるけどね。
Nagiko whispered that quip to Hibiki's complaint.
それじゃ足りないのよ。だからこそ、これなの。
Hibiki pointed to a section of the flyer.
そこに何か書かれてるの？
風見市主催、アマチュアサーフィン大会？
Hibiki, you can't mean...
小日向先輩のことだから、ただ見学に行きましょうってわけないっすよね。
よくわかってるじゃない。今朝、ちょっと電話して聞いてみたんだけどね。今ならまだ大会に参加できるらしいの。うちにはナギがいるし、青春部みんなで乗り込んで、海祭りを盛り上げるわよ。
I figured that's where she was going with this. There was a small issue with that, however.
小日向先輩がそう言うなら、私も頑張ります。
Please don't blindly go along with whatever she says, okay?
そうですよ、柊さん。大会出場は楽しそうですけど、私は無理そうです。
私もです。ボードの上に立つこともできないと思います。
Exactly. The only person in the entire youth collective who could ride waves to any acceptable degree at present was Nagiko.
楽しそうなんすけどね。地方のローカル大会でもちゃんと乗れない人間は厳しいっすよ。
でも、まだ日にちはあるし、ナギから教われば。
響、聖たちの言う通りよ。お祭りの大会だから失敗しても愛嬌だと思うけど、みんながみんな乗れるようになるのは難しいわよ。
そっか。
That was the take of someone with experience. Hibiki seemed to be at a loss for words, and her shoulders drooped dejectedly. Although, I think we should do it.
本気で言ってるの？遠野。
She was about to say my name, but panicked and reverted to my surname. The other members of the youth collective grinned and smiled our way, which made me blush all over again. Anyway, I think it's fine if only a few of us participate. I'm sure no one has a problem with Senpai participating at least. It's a good opportunity, so I'd actually like to enter the tournament too. And then again, I couldn't perform a takeoff very well yet either. Riding the waves continuously was still far off of me. I had a feeling I could get the hang of it relatively quickly once I figured that out, though. There's no way I could gain any air or land tricks. But this was a tournament sponsored by the beach festival, so I'd imagine that would be more than enough. Even if I failed to stand up on the board and fell into the ocean, onlookers would just laugh it off.
なるほど。ユウが参加するなら、俺も参加してみようかな。
Since you brought this up, I'd assumed you're participating too, Hibiki.
まあ一応は。
Okay then. How about if anyone who wants to enter does, and the other members play a support role? Hibiki went to the effort to look for this tournament, so it would be a waste to disregard it. More importantly, I was positive Nagiko would be eager to participate. I didn't want to let the subject go.
もういいこと言うじゃない。
Ow! That hurts! No hitting!
ごめん。でも、今回はユウの案で行きましょうか。
Hibiki suggested as she slowly looked at each member of the youth collective.
じゃあ、恥をかいてもいいから大会に参加したい人、手を挙げて。
Okay, so what I'm thinking is, because Nagiko wants to participate in a surfing competition, that would be more, that would make surfing more than just a hobby, right? So her dad would not approve of the participating in the tournament, right? I think that's where it starts. I don't know how it'll end, right? Maybe Nagiko will convince her dad, or maybe you will convince her dad, but either way, it's gonna come down to her dad not being very accepting of Nagiko participating in the tournament. Yep. Especially because it's very public, and maybe because of that, he's even more against it because he doesn't want his daughter to be associated with surfing. Right? I don't know. That one's more speculative.
俺もだ。
私もかな。
As I expected, Nagiko also raised her hand.
私も参加するとして、他には、
遠野くんや小日向さんが参加するなら、私もしてみます。
鹿島先輩、自分では無理だって言ってたじゃないですか。
そうなんですけど、遠野くんや小日向さんが出るなら、記念に出てみようかと思いまして。
おい、鹿島先輩チャレンジャーっすね。
これも青春ですから。
先輩方が参加されるなら私も。
しおりちゃんまで？
ってことは、参加は私に凪、ゆう、鹿島さん、しおり、神楽坂ね。そしてバックアップにひじりさんとりつの2人っと。
そうっすね。さすがに自分は参加は見送るっす。
私も大会まではちょっと無理かも。
それは仕方ないわ。参加は個人の希望ってことにしたんだしね。
We do have more people entering than I thought, though. I figured Kashima and Hiragi would opt to play a support role instead.
私、さっき余計なこと言ったかな。みんなが乗れるようになるのは難しいって。
No, you really didn't. I have no clue if we'll be able to surf properly by the time the tournament rolls around. Some of the other members even said it'll be difficult themselves. But this was a festival. I only figured we could try to push our limits to some small extent, myself included. Well, let's assume that we personally will work hard to practice. The more important one here is you, Senpai.
私？
Your eyes lit up the second Hibiki mentioned the surfing competition. You said what you did for everyone else's benefit earlier. But isn't the truth that you're absolutely crazy about competing?
じゃあ、参加するって遠野が言ったのって。
Maybe it was in the sense that it would make it easier for you to participate. Well, it was largely because I thought it would be fun.
遠野。
It felt odd for me to say this, but surfing hadn't really been in the cards either. That was partially my own fault. But that just made me want Nagiko to devote herself to surfing to her heart's content all the more. I'll help. So let me know if you need a hand at any point, okay? While you're at it, I guess I'd appreciate it if you'd join me for surfing practice.
それって、サーフィンデートってこと？
Would it?
ありがとう、遠野。練習、楽しみにしてる。
Yeah. Can't believe they're flirting again in front of the others. Holy crap, I was blushing up a storm. But Nagiko and I were dating. We were boyfriend and girlfriend, so this was fine, right?
それじゃあみんないい？夏休み最初にして最大のイベント、海祭り！大会参加者も、バックアップも、みんなで協力して、最高に楽しい一日にするわよ！
Yeah!